I never thought I'd have to install security cameras around my own backyard just to prove the criminal wasn't a stranger but the head of my HOA. She and her friends would sneak into my pool like it was a public resort, laughing, drinking, blasting pop music, all while I was at work paying the mortgage for the house they were trespassing in. But she didn't know that one day she'd walk into my backyard and come out glowing bright green in front of the entire neighborhood. It started on an ordinary Saturday morning, the kind where you wake up slow, make coffee, and actually feel proud of the life you built. The sun was spilling through the curtains, soft and perfect, until I heard laughter. High-pitched, carefree laughter that didn't belong in my house. Then came the splash. Then another. I froze, mug in hand, thinking I was dreaming. But when I pulled back the curtains, I nearly dropped the cup. 3 women were floating in my pool, my private pool, on inflatable swans, holding drinks like they owned the place. And at the center of it all was one woman in a floral swimsuit cover-up, oversized sunglasses, and a sun hat big enough to block the truth. She looked like she'd stepped straight out of a luxury commercial. When she saw me, she waved, like I was the intruder. I walked outside, still in my robe, trying to sound calm. "Excuse me, what the hell are you doing in my pool?" The woman turned her head, smirked, and said, "Sweetheart, this is the community pool." My jaw actually dropped. "No, it's not. I bought this property 2 months ago. It's on my land. You're trespassing." She chuckled, the kind of condescending laugh people use when they think they're above you. "I wasn't notified about any sale," she said, leaning back like a queen. "I've had a key for years. Unless you're squatting here, maybe you should call the HOA." That name, the HOA, made my stomach twist. I'd heard stories, sure, but I didn't think I'd walk straight into one. "Who even are you?" I demanded. She smiled. "Karen. Tell Paul I said hi." Then she climbed out of my pool, dripping water across my deck, her friends following her like backup dancers. She didn't even struggle with the side gate. It opened smooth, like she'd done this 100 times. She actually had a key. That night I went to the HOA office. Paul, the president, greeted me with that fake, sugary smile that could rot your teeth. "Hey, neighbor, everything okay?" I told him exactly what happened. He looked uncomfortable, then chuckled. "Oh, that's just Karen. She's spirited. I'm sure it was a misunderstanding." Misunderstanding. "She broke into my pool." "Let's not use words like broke in," he said, lowering his voice. "She's a longtime resident and she's on the board. Maybe extend a little goodwill." "So you're saying I should let her trespass because it's inconvenient to upset her?" He smiled thinly. "I'm saying pick your battles." That phrase stuck in my head all night. Pick your battles. Easy advice when you're not the one being invaded. When I got home, I checked the side gate. The latch had been filed down, not broken, altered. Someone wanted it to never close properly. That was when I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a claim of territory. I changed the locks, installed cameras, and waited. For a few days, peace returned. But on Tuesday at noon, my phone buzzed. Motion detected backyard. I opened the feed, and there she was. Karen. Reclining on my lounge chair, drink in hand, sunglasses on like she was posing for a magazine. She didn't even swim. She just sat there scrolling her phone for 2 hours. The next day, she brought friends. They swam, laughed at sandwiches. On Thursday, they came again. By Friday, it wasn't disrespect anymore, it was performance. She knew I was watching. I stormed back to the HOA. Paul wasn't there, but his assistant was. I showed her the footage. Karen raising her drink toward the camera, smiling. The assistant's face fell. "Oh, I'll make a note for the next meeting." "Don't bother," I said. "I'll handle it myself." That night, surrounded by paperwork, the deed, the map, every HOA clause, I felt my patience burn out. Proof didn't matter to people like her. They didn't believe in facts, only confidence. I whispered to myself, "You picked the wrong pool, Karen." I needed a plan, and I knew exactly who to call. My old college roommate, Mason, was now a chemistry professor. I called him up and said, "Hypothetically, if someone kept trespassing in your pool, could you make them regret it without hurting anyone?" He laughed. "What did you do now?" I told him everything. The trespassing, the arrogance, the HOA cover-up. He paused. "If you just want to embarrass her safely, I might have an idea. Something that reacts with sunscreen. Visible, temporary, completely harmless." "What kind of reaction?" "Let's just say, colorful. 3 days later, Mason showed up with a small case like he was delivering classified material. Inside was a vial of clear liquid. "This is a water-safe tint," he said. "Harmless, non-toxic. But if someone wearing certain types of high SPF sunscreen gets in the water under sunlight, it'll turn bright green. Lasts a day or two, washes off with soap. Just don't overdo it." I felt like a mad scientist and a victim all at once. I documented everything: the label, the safety sheet, the pool conditions. If this went sideways, I wanted proof it wasn't harmful. That weekend I tested it in a small bucket. A drop of Karen's favorite sunscreen, a splash of pool water, then a few drops of Mason's solution. Within minutes it turned a deep emerald green. Safe, stunning, and poetic. I decided to wait. I wasn't going to invite her in. I knew she'd come back. She always did. Wednesday came, and with it her arrogance. My phone buzzed motion alert. Karen again, walking in like she owned the place. She even waved at the camera. I could feel my blood boil, but I didn't move. I needed her to believe I'd given up. That weekend the trap was ready. Cameras recording time stamped neighbor Jim on standby across the street. The water was crystal blue, the sun perfect. I added the measured amount of Mason's formula and waited. At 11:42 a.m., Jim texted, "Gate just opened." And there she was. Karen. Sun hat, white cover-up sunglasses, every inch of her screaming confidence. 2 women trailed behind her carrying snacks and a pink flamingo float. They spread their towels, laughed, and started applying sunscreen like it was a religious ritual. She turned toward the camera, gave that same smug smile, and said, "Perfect day for a swim." Then she jumped in. For a few seconds, nothing. Then I saw it. A faint shimmer spreading across the water. Then, like a slow-motion magic trick, the pool began to glow green. At first, she didn't notice. Her friends laughed, splashing each other. Then one of them screamed. Karen looked down and froze. Her arms were covered in green patches. The color spread fast across her shoulders, her face, her hair. What is this?" she shrieked, slapping at her skin. Her friends scrambled out, one slipping on the deck, spilling drinks everywhere. Karen clawed her way out of the water, dripping and furious. "You poisoned me," she yelled, already recording herself. "He put chemicals in the water. I'm under attack." I could hear her voice echo through the camera feed as she spun her phone around for a live stream. She didn't realize she was giving the internet live proof she'd broken into my backyard. Neighbors peeked over fences. Some gasped, others recorded. Jim whispered through his phone, "You're trending already, man." Within minutes, police sirens echoed down the street. 2 officers approached, calm but firm. "Ma'am, we need you to step aside." She was still ranting. "He tried to kill me. Look at me. My skin is green." Officer Ruiz, the same guy who would later become my unexpected ally, asked for my statement. I showed him the footage, the timestamps, and the chemicals safety sheet. They watched silently as the footage played Karen unlocking my gate, walking in, applying sunscreen, jumping into my pool. The officer raised an eyebrow. "So this chemical, it's basically a cosmetic dye." "Yes, non-toxic, demonstration grade. She wasn't supposed to be here." He exhaled through his nose and turned to her. "Ma'am, you realize this is private property, right?" Karen's jaw clenched. "I have an HOA key." "Not anymore," he said. "You've been warned multiple times. You're trespassing." Her face twisted in disbelief. The crowd of neighbors had grown, some sympathetic, most not. Her green skin shimmered under the sun like a badge of humiliation. I didn't gloat. I didn't cheer. I just stood at my window watching the truth finally speak for itself. By evening, the internet had done what the HOA wouldn't. Karen's live stream had gone viral. People clipped it, slowed it down, added captions. "When karma hits in 4K, one meme said. Another called her the incredible sulk. The HOA board panicked. Paul called me the next day sounding like he'd aged a decade. "We're conducting an internal review," he said weakly. "This has gotten out of hand." "Yeah," I said. "Maybe you should have handled it before the internet did." Then came the twist I didn't see coming. When the HOA was forced to review Karen's conduct, they discovered something bigger. Money missing. Thousands of dollars in community expenses that led nowhere. Fake invoices, non-existent contractors, all traced back to her. Within a week, Paul resigned for health reasons. The HOA board dissolved. Karen was suspended indefinitely pending investigation. 2 weeks later, the police were back, this time at her house. I stood on my porch with my coffee watching as she argued with detectives. She saw me, of course. She always did. "You think you won," she shouted. "You think this is over." I took a sip. "It is for me." By the end of that month, she was charged with embezzlement and ordered to pay restitution over $8,000 to me for legal costs and property interference plus repayment to the HOA. She also got 12 months probation and a restraining order. Her house went up for sale a few weeks later. The for sale sign looked like a gravestone for arrogance. I didn't celebrate. I didn't throw a party. I just sat by my pool one evening watching the water shimmer gold in the sunset. The same water she'd turned green. The same pool she'd thought she owned. My friend Mason called, laughing. "So is she still green?" "Only with envy," I said. He chuckled. "Told you chemistry always delivers poetic justice." I smiled quiet. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt restored. The HOA was quieter now. Neighbors waved when they passed. The new couple who bought Karen's house kept to themselves. Sometimes I still get messages about that video. People ask, "How did you come up with that idea?" Or, "Was it worth it?" And honestly, yeah, it was. Because it wasn't about revenge. It was about truth. Karen thought she could rewrite ownership with confidence and lies. But facts, patience, and proof, they last longer than arrogance ever could. She wanted to own the narrative. Instead, she became the cautionary tale. And me, I finally got my peace back. Quiet, simple, earned. If there's one thing I learned, it's this. You don't have to destroy them, just expose them. Because the truth always glows brighter than the lie.